Yes, Mother. Yes, of course. Yes. Tommy's secretary, Thompson Hamilton, will be keeping me abreast of everything from the ship. Yes. That's fine, Mother. Yes, I had quite a few guests already this morning. I'm quite tired. But I will keep you abreast of all that's happening. Yes, Mother. Oh, and Mother, do have a good time at your social today. Yes, please tell all the ladies that Nellie gives them her best. And Laddie. All right, Mother. I will speak to you tomorrow. Goodbye. Well, my husband is aboard Titanic at this time, as you all know. And I've been here at our house. Father is bedridden with the flu. He's been actually very sick as of late. And my dear husband has been here spending a lot of time with him before he left on Titanic. So we all have great concern for Father. But Dr. Byers was here earlier this morning, and he gave him some more of his medicine. So happily, he is sleeping upstairs quite soundly, and that's very good, so he can get his rest. And while Dr. Byers was here, he also gave me some stomach powders for my stomach troubles. I also had another visitor today. It's been quite a busy day already, and we're only in the afternoon. Dr. Byers was first here, and then we had Charles Payne from the yard. Mr. Payne came by, of course, to see how Father was doing. The entire yard has been concerned for Father Andrews, but he did stay for a bit, and we had a bit of conversation, and he is doing very well. Just when he was here, we were talking a bit about, I was making notes here, in fact. My friends and I are going to have a social soon, a tea, and we are going to be talking about each of our honeymoons when we each took holiday for our honeymoon. And just before Mother had called, I was making my notes here for my part that I'll be contributing to our little social in about a week regarding our notes for us talking about our honeymoons. Well, before Tommy left, of course, as I said, Father's flu had him quite concerned and made it quite difficult for him to leave. And my stomach troubles only added to the problem. And I will be taking my stomach powders tonight with my dinner. But I assure you, and as I said to Tommy, I'm doing much better, much better. Well, as I had said, when Mother had called, Thompson Hamilton, Tommy's secretary from the yard, he has been keeping me abreast since he returned. As you know, he's returned from Belfast, or he's returned to Belfast, should I say. I've been a bit busy today, so I do apologize for any inconsistencies today. So, but yes, he's returned now to Belfast, and he's going to keep me and, of course, the family abreast of all the news from Titanic, as he is able to. Well, the honeymoon that I was putting together notes for when I have my social with my lady friends, we were just talking about so many different things, and I said that I was going to bring several wonderful photographs and memorabilia, of course, and ephemera from our trip, and our souvenirs, our paper souvenirs. Oh, it was just a wonderful, wonderful trip. And I recall when we had gone that there was so much travel in between each stop before we made our way to Switzerland. And each vessel voyage upon the steamers were all so interesting. And we took so many photographs. And we've seen so many wonderful things. In fact, when we had made it to our final destination, we were giving a coupon book for all the events that would be in the area while we were there on holiday for our honeymoon. And this coupon book, with the or coupon as you would say, would of course help to save Tommy and I a bit on our excursions. But the key to that is if I could absolutely remember to bring the coupon book. You see, when we had enjoyed the steamer ride aboard the lake and with the Kursaal Orchestra, that was absolutely enchanting and wonderful. But when I was supposed to bring the book with me the next day to the theater for a bit of a discount, I forgot it. So it was so very exciting that I could not remember everything. But we had a wonderful time, saving money or not. I wanted to talk to you about a postcard I have here. And it was about a young boy, Felix Brunner, an acrobat. He learned from both his parents, mainly his father, and his father was in the show business, and little Felix took after his father. And he kept going with the same interests. And he's a delightful little boy with plenty of talent. And on the bicycle, so many different things. So the postcard of which I have that Tommy actually purchased after the program shows little Felix in all the different positions on the bicycle. Quite talented, I may say. And of course, also while we were there, we saw a lot of wonderful actresses. That was very, very interesting. One of the actresses was from America, and she was there on her tour to do programs at the theater. Well, some of the other wonderful things on our voyage and on our holiday for honeymoon was, one of them was the 100 Steps, another postcard which Tommy saved. Oh, this was quite an adventure, staying on those steps. This was not far from Mount Salif, and it was, should I say, quite terrifying for Tommy. For me, even in my long skirts, I still had a wonderful time. As I ascended the stairs, and I asked Tommy to take a few photographs of myself up on the stairs, he was so concerned about falling backwards and falling off the edge. But it was a wonderful, wonderful time, and we just enjoyed every moment of it. Let's see, what else do I have here? I do have a stereo view I am going to show you. Oh, and we also went to the Trésor, another word called the 13 Trees, the Trésor. And we took the trolley ride on the Trésor. Well, it looks like Buddy Laddie is here, my little buddy Laddie. Yes. Hello, Laddie. How's my little friend doing? Is Aunt Lizzie and Elvis still in the garden? Were you out there with them? Well, perhaps later that we can take a trip out there ourselves and have a nice walk. Yes, okay. You're sitting on the furniture. Buddy Laddie likes to be on there. He's my little buddy. I call him Buddy. But Laddie does like to be on the furniture. He's quite spoiled. Aunt Lizzie lets him sit wherever she wishes. You need not worry, Laddie. When Tommy returns from Voyage, I'm sure he'll be ready to take you on many excursions. Yes, and a ride in the motor as well. Well, as I was saying, the Trésor was a wonderful stopping place in a wonderful cafe looking out at all the mountains. While we were there, after the trolley ride, Tommy took a photograph of me writing my postcards and my letters to everyone back home. Yes, such a wonderful, wonderful time. Oh, and the Glacier Garden. This was one of my favorite places, the Glacier Garden. And in fact, at the Glacier Garden, Tommy had me, although he was complaining about the 100 steps, he had me take a bit of a walk up the side near the waterfall and take my photograph there. He didn't have a problem climbing the rocks there, but the stairs did bother him. But this was a wonderful time, and I recall smelling the wonderful fresh air that was coming off the waterfall. So refreshing, so very nice. And each day I was able to wear a different one of my lighter dresses, of course, because it's June, going into July. Of course, it's very warm everywhere. Even in Switzerland, it's a bit warm. So the daytime would be all right to have the lighter gowns on. And then here we are in front of our hotel, and just down the way in the distance you can see the Court Church. Yes, just a walking distance away, actually. Very, very nice, very nice. And of course we saw the lion monument when we were there, the dying lion, which was quite a symbol over there in Switzerland, and we made sure we had seen, and this is a postcard Tommy had purchased there at the souvenir shop. And it's done quite well. In fact, he actually took a photograph, and I do believe I have it here with me today. It's one of my silver citrates photographs, but if it pops up, I will show it to you. But the dying lion was quite a monument to visit and view. Let's see what I have here. All right. So, and then while we were at all these wonderful places, Tommy took a photograph of myself as I was walking along in front of him, trying to make my way back to the trolley, the wind blowing terribly. Tommy took a nice photograph of myself in my white gown, fixing my gloves and a big smile. He was making comments about my hat. You see, I had fruit and flowers, decoration ladies in the hat, and I thought it looked quite smart. But my husband had fun making comments about that. He thought that I looked like a walking fruit tree. Oh, and then here is the photograph of myself that he took in front of the trésor. There's another wonderful photograph that he's not quite fond of, but I was trying to, before we were to return to the trésor on the trolley, I was to take some more photographs, and the mountains were just breathtaking. Well, I tried quite hard to be able to see. We each had our own cameras with us, yes, and I tried to take a photograph and have Tommy there also in the photograph. Now the wind was blowing quite viciously, and you can see on half of his trouser leg. In fact, I tried so desperately hard to take a good photograph with Tommy and the mountains. In fact, I was just about out of film, and that my photographs seemed to have split my husband in two, where I only have half of him, but you can see with his hat pointed down and all the wind in his trouser leg from the great winds, quite strong, as that photograph was taken, putting his head down not to avoid the photograph, but to avoid those strong winds, and of course holding on with his other hand to his hat. One of the things that I recall quite fondly upon our honeymoon was St. Mark's Church. And I think all of you will enjoy this. Many people, unless I've pointed it out, or of course Tommy points it out, and by the way, he's marked every back of every photograph from the wedding and the honeymoon with his little initials as to all we were doing. But there is the St. Mark's Church that we stopped at while on the steamer, and it is a beautiful church, but it's covered in ivy. The whole front of the church and the sides are covered in ivy. Well, was something my husband truly wanted to take a photograph of, because why? It reminded us of our wedding at Lambeth Parish. And if you recall, the photograph that was taken as the wedding party was preparing and waiting for my fiance, my Tommy, and I, you can see all the ivy on the church as well. So St. Mark's as well as Lambeth look quite similar with all the ivy. Well, the one thing I should like to say before I go any further is, if you look quite well at the bottom of, here's the church, and Tommy was taking the photograph vertically, and you can actually see where the sun was coming up behind him, and you can actually see the trees behind him and his outline taking the photograph of the church. I thought this was amazing and quite something to speak about at our socials and our visitations. And you can see his arm coming up from the side as he took the photograph with the trees behind him of the church, and the sun was coming from behind him. So it's quite a photograph, and yes, that is my husband right there taking the photograph. Before I do know, I wanted to show you some of the, before I speak to you about Charles Payne that was here today, I wanted to share with you just a few of our stereo views from our photographs we had made into these stereo views for our viewer. Now, one of them here, if I can find it, yes. This was taken, and Nellie does not have her spectacles on, and this one was taken on the boulevard there in Lucerne, not too far from where the steamers dock. And you see all the beautiful ladies in their white gowns because of the month that we're in late June and early July. And you see all the fine gentlemen with their walking canes and their beautiful suits. Ladies beautiful, handsome, and ladies and the gentlemen handsome suits, should I say, and the ladies beautiful dresses. Oh, I'm quite taken with looking at these. They bring back such fond memories. And there's a lady with her parasol. It's such a wonderful, wonderful holiday. I wish it could have lasted forever. Yes.
Sweet the gentle waters flow to meet the heather on the shore, rising from the sea. Oh, bonny hills, I long for thee. Take me home, take me home. I hear your voice, I feel your hand. My emerald isle, my sacred land. Across the endless sea, you sing to me. How green thy fragrant meadow blooms beneath the flowering laurel tree. This night I feel the fires burn. I yearn to kneel upon your shore. Cast this longing free. My restless heart belongs to thee. Take me home, take me home. I hear